Let's ask Gene Munster. He's managing partner at Deepwater Asset Management. And Gene, I'm curious what you think. I have a theory, but I want to know what you think is going on here. I mean, to me, it seems like a lot actually improved sentiment after OpenAI did that massive raise last week, after Sam Altman came out and defended kind of the idea of where's all the money going to come for their data center ambitions over the next few years on that podcast that Alex Kantrowitz. Is that what turned things around here? What do you think is going on?
I think that was the moment. And just to put some more context on that, this $830 billion valuation, the fact that they're confident that they can raise tens of billions, I think is evidence of an example of a private market company that's really setting the narrative on the public side. And I think that this whole concept that this is a profitless prosperity around these large language models, I think is continuing to be put to rest. We understand, and investors understand, that the pricing of tokens is going to go down by Sam Altman's account 10x per year. But ultimately, the usage is going to increase by more. And I think that is at the center of this big raise. I want to put some more quick context about why that was encouraging. If you look at his expectations about where their revenue is going to go over the next few years, doubling in each of the next few years, that basically puts OpenAI at a valuation of about 12 times calendar 26 revenue. Now, that is very favorable relative. That's kind of in line, maybe like a slight premium to the rest of software, for example. And keep in mind that this is growing at 100% versus software growing at 15%.
So let me just jump in there and say, in other words, what you're saying is they're trading at about 12 times price to sales. I know it's not a perfect metric by the end of 2026. Which is in line with where other software type companies would trade. They're not trading, in other words, at some crazy multiple if their revenues are achievable in just the next 12 months.
Exactly. And I just want to emphasize one comment, which is where the whole AI conversation comes down, if that is achievable. And ultimately, I'm in the camp that this is achievable. I think that there's upside to that 100% growth. They've showed that they've continued to do that. And I think that this commentary about this raise gives some investors some confidence to look back over the past month. There's been 5 positive data points, large positive data points related to the OpenAI, everything from Micron earnings to commentary from AWS's CEO about how they're building out. NVIDIA raised their guidance for calendar 26 from 50% growth to mid-60s. And that excludes H20s.
I mean, you've mentioned some of this. Amazon Web Services, demand keeps skyrocketing. NVIDIA raised their calendar 26 growth to 65% from 50 just at the end of November. Broadcom, I mean, let's talk about what a quarter that was and look at what happened with the stock. Oracle, right? Can I ask a weird question, Gene? It seems like, in a way, the better OpenAI's prospects look, the better the whole AI trade does. Whereas the better Gemini's prospects look, which seem to come at the expense of OpenAI to some degree, the more that trade looks a little shaky, even though it's good for Google's shares. Am I overemphasizing that distinction?
I think so. I think at the end of the day, the central question we're all asking, back to a comment you had a minute ago about if they hit this, I think when it comes to Google, when it comes to OpenAI, all the large language models, all these companies, is just that simple question of do you believe that ultimately the growth of these companies will exceed high expectations? And I think if Google continues to grow search higher than where investors think, it's kind of 11, 12% for calendar 27. They recently grew at 14%. Look at what's happened, obviously, with Google Cloud and that impressive growth. If they continue to do that, I think it's going to be a positive read for the overall AI trade. I think that whether it's Google or a positive commentary comes out. Now, that's the good news, is that across the board, the data points continue to be most positive. Now, again, the market may not give it credit in any week to week, but the data points have been most positive.
Yeah.
The challenge there is that imagine what would happen if we actually got a negative data point. I don't foresee one, but I think that is the question that continues to nag investors. Are we 1 week away from a negative data point, which ends up kind of putting us in a funk again?